All right, so welcome back. So I want to teach us or show us how to gum the shorts. Now, this will be the gumming section for the shorts. Now, this is the male one and this is the female one. So I will show you guys how this can be gummed. Now, already, okay, let me just say, you are meant to gum the pocket region. Now, you must make use of your paper gum or your gum stain, which people call gum stain. So you cut out 1 inch or thereabouts, or 1.5 inch, something of this nature. Then place it in a diagonal form this way, where it must get to the notching point. So you place this form and then you cut out the excesses. And then in this video, we are going to make use of our charcoal iron. Now you must make sure you keep water in a bowl or in a bucket near you in order to control the heat of the charcoal iron. Then you must make sure you have a fabric placed underneath your material you're sewing, and then you gum in this spot with this point. You gum this way, right? You gum this way. If it's too hot, you can cool it off. Cool it off properly. So you gum this way. You gum this, right? So you just take your time, make sure that the gum is properly done. You gum this way, and then when you must have done this point, you also turn the back of the second panel, right? Don't forget that it's two here. So you turn the back over this way as well. Place the gum stain from that direction this way to the point of your notching, and then you also gum. Then make sure the heat is properly gummed actually. So also make sure you don't burn the fabric when gumming. So after you must have gummed this, so you trim off the excess gum that must have or that might have come out from the edge. So trim it off this way, trim them off, and then you fold from the notch line. You fold this in an angular form from the notched line. From the notched line, make sure it doesn't exceed the notched points. So fold from the notched line, fold this way. Now, even though you are using charcoal, you can still achieve a perfect and a neat gumming. You must not make use of electric iron. So if you don't have a generator set that can carry or power your iron, there's no problem. You can still make use of charcoal iron if you know how to use it properly. So fold it in this form this way, right? Fold in this form. Then after this position, you also fling it over to the other side. You also fold in this form as well. Then make sure that your notching, that your points, the point you notch, the gum did not cover the notch, right? If it covered it, you can still re-notch on that same point to enable the gum be free from the notch position. Then fold as well in this form, and then fold it carefully. Make sure you are having a neat folding because this is going to affect your stitching or your sewing, right? So now you have gummed this. It's advisable that you iron out the bodies of your fabric in case you have any rumples because it will affect or alter your measurement application. Then once you are done with that, then the bag does not need any form of gumming. It will be left untouched. Now the next you will do is to bring the flap, right? The one of 3 inches by 10.5. Then bring the flap. You still cut out a gum in that width, right? Then place it this way. Now there are two. Make sure that they are facing the backing each other this way, right? The gummed area facing up on the wrong side. Then cut out from here this way, and then place it down, making sure that the straight edges are meeting each other at this point. Then take your gum point, face it that way, and then you gum. Always be mindful of the heat on your iron when using even charcoal or electric iron. The only way you can cool this is when you dip it small in a bowl or in a bucket of water. Make sure that the water does not penetrate the main iron, the charcoal area. Then you're done with this. Then you can now slit it open from here, right? Slit open from here, and then you can now trim your excesses. You can now trim your excesses at this point. So trim the excesses at this point. Trim it off at this point, and then you remove any debris of the paper gum that dropped on the fabric. Trim it off at this point. So you remove any debris of the paper, the gum dropping on the ironing table so that it doesn't peak at the surface of the iron. So make sure you do this always, and then keep it aside. Then the next you will gum will be the band. This is the band we cut. The band measurement was cut at 4 inches width by the length of your, 4.5 inches width by the length of your customer's first measurement over 2 plus extra 7, right? So now we agreed to have a double, a jointed band. That's double measurement here. So I am trying to bring out this band in a way that I will not have too much excesses at the end. So I'm trying to calculate it now because when cutting it was on fold, so I just had to just draft it out and proceed with my cutting, right? So my waist measurement we used was 37, I think. Then by 2, it's going to give us 18.5, right? Then add extra 7 to this, or 5 inches minimum this way. So I have a total of 25.5, which is very much okay for me. So I'm going to cut off the excesses from here. Somewhere here, I will cut it out. Then the next thing I will do is to place it this way. And then you are meant to gum this, but you're not going to gum the total width of this. You're going to gum at least more than half of it, leaving like 1.5 inch or 1 inch ungummed, right? So what I will do, I normally do, I will cut a gum that is covering the total width of this. I will divide it into 2 equal parts this way to serve me for the both bands. So I will just divide into 2 equal parts this way. I will just split it up into 2 equal parts this way. So when I slit this open this way, then I will now place this gum at this edge, right? Place at this edge. Also make sure the minute or the moment you drop your charcoal, it tends to gather up more heat. So always cool it off at intervals so that you don't get to burn your fabric. That's the trick. Once you have dropped the charcoal for some seconds or for some minutes, you tend to drop the fabric, you tend to cool it off immediately so that you can drop this, cool off the heat. Then you iron out properly this way, and then make sure the iron does not burn or get to burn the fabric. Then once you have ironed it all through to this point, now the next thing you will do is to make sure you turn it over to the other end. Also iron the corresponding points this way, right? Don't forget that the band is 2 here. We are going to do a jointed band. So take your time, iron it out properly this way. Now when ironing, you are meant to apply a certain level of pressure on the iron. Don't just slap it firmly or loosely on the clothes. It will not gum. So apply a certain level of pressure on top so that it can reinforce the gumming effect. So you iron it out in this form, iron all through this way. Then after you must have done this, the next you will do is to check if the excesses here needs to be augmented or completed. You can just pick a pieces of the gum and then as well cut it in this form. and then make sure you lap it like half inch or 1 inch across each other, and then as well you iron. Then after doing this, now the next you will do is to make sure you do the same thing on the other side of it. So you also complete the other panel of it, cut it out as well, and then you gum. You gum. It's too hot now, so you gum. Then after this, you now bring out the band in this form. Then if you have any excesses at this edge, you cut off the excesses. Now these excesses you are cutting is to enable you have or iron or fold this without having to drop the gummy effects at the surface of your iron. Then cut all through the excesses this way, remove the debris coming out, and then you also cut from here as well, cut from here as well, cut from here as well, then cut here as well. Then after this, you can now start folding your band. Now at this point, it's advisable to put the both bands together this way and fold simultaneously. Now the reason you should do this is to make sure that the band folding measurements remain the same on both ends. Like I do say, once you have dropped your iron for some seconds before you place it again on your fabric, you must cool it off. The cooling off helps you to have a perfect effect this way. So you hold the both bands together. You hold the both bands together. All right, so now you fold the both bands together. Now this first folding must not exceed half an inch. That is the maximum inch you fold your first fold. Now this folding you are doing here is what you will use to attach this to the bodies of the trouser, right? So you fold half an inch this way. Don't forget that this is the method you will use to fold the band for both the male and the female. That's the reason I tried to bring up the two shorts together so that you know the similarities and know the differences as well. So try to fold the both of them together this way. Then when you must have folded it in that form, now you now hold it this way, and then you fold 1.3 inch. At this point, you are meant to place your tape this way to cross check. That's the maximum you will fold, 1.3, right? This way, and then you fold all through. Now, because of my consistency in folding or my what's it called? Yeah, because it's folding, I have mastered the measurement by mere looking at it. So in your own case, you're allowed to place your tape as you fold. You measure 1.3. It must be 1.3 for your regular waistband for the male section. Then it might be extra inch if you happen to want to have a bigger band on the female aspect of the short, right? Like in the one we did the high waist shorts, we chose to use the 2 inches band. So that means at this point you have to fold 2 inches width in order to augment what you initially deducted from your band. So you cross check the measurements all through and make sure that the both bands are folded evenly. Then once you are done folding the band, now the next thing you will do is to fold these excesses to come on top this way. Now it should not lap to the end. It should come a bit above the middle point of the band you have folded. So you just iron it out in this form. Now this ironing is very much important as well. Iron it out this way, and then after this, open it up again, then push the excesses to go underneath. Now this band, we have this little difference here. Now the reason you should have the difference is to make sure that when you are top stitching the one on top, it will catch the one under. On no account should this band be equal or the one under being lesser. The one under must be a bit bigger or wider in this form in order to make provision to catch the thread when you sew on top. The one under will be sewn as well. So this is how you fold your Ankara band. So I believe this video will or must have explained to you how to do this. Now the next thing you will do now is to okay, nothing else is to go and weave and then fold your patch pockets for your trouser. Then also cool off your iron at interval so that you don't burn the fabric. So cool it off. Now the patch pocket, you don't need to gum it because it's Ankara, right? So just use your hemming gum and hold the up area and then fold the sides half an inch depending on the measurement you used in the cutting section. So fold it this way, right? Fold the sides first, then you now measure your final measurement you want to have, 5 inches, 5.5 inches, you now fold. So I'm using 5.5, right? So, but the minimum you can use for an adult pocket is 5 inches width. For kids can use 4.5, depends on the age of the kid in question. Then after this, you now fold the up area 1.5 inch or 2 inches as well, depending on the measurements you used, right? So after this, you now decide the type of pocket ending, either V shape or straight shape, however you want to do it, it's solely your choice. Then you fold at this point. This one must be half an inch at the down. So you bring hemming gum, then you make sure your hemming gum is being used to hold the up area of your pocket, and this is how it must be applied. 1 or 2 strands is enough, so place it in this form, then place this last one on top this way, and then fold it this way, and then after which you must have done this, you now iron out this way. Be mindful of the heat of the iron, please, so that it doesn't get to burn or spoil the success of your work. So tuck in the excess gum this way, then cool off the iron. If you have noticed the hotness, try to iron it out in this form. All right, so you make sure you gum it all through this way. So whatever you did on this first one is what you will do on the second pocket as well. So just bring it out in this form and then place your gum here as well, then place your gum here as well, right? So after the gum points, then you iron out properly. You iron out properly this way. Then after which, then your patch pockets are ready. Then you place them on top. Of course, your inner pocket, you don't need to gum anything there. So your the loop as well, there's no need to gum. So you're done with the men short gumming. So now the next video I will make now will be on how to gum the female shorts.